Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into today's first video. It's Monday at GasOffice, so it means only one thing. It's Europe Day. Every Monday at GasOffice we have a look at weather for the coming week across the continent. And today is no exception. So we're going to have a look at the charts of WeatherCentral.de extending out through the coming week. I think we're going to be seeing a battle taking place really. In most parts of Europe, you're going to have a lot of dry weather under high pressure. And quite warm as well, because the air mass with this high pressure is generally coming up from the south, coming up from the Mediterranean. So pretty warm and dry for many parts, but there will be weather systems coming into west of Europe. They'll be bringing bands of rain, and so in the far west of Europe there could be some quite heavy rain through the course of the week, but no sign of anything really cold coming up this week. Now, for getting on with that, just very quickly to mention the ads at GasOffice. There's links to articles on all the pages, so you have to browse the widgets and click through the links. You'll be able to go off and read the article, and thanks very much for doing excuse me, thanks very much for doing that. Later on I'm going to have Terry's forecast for the coming week at GasOffice. That's for the UK. There'll also be a video update coming up later on, looking at the next week's 10 days. And also this evening on the events page, there'll be an update for Bonfire Night, which is coming into the time frame of the GFS model now as well. So a lot going on for today at GasOffice. So just starting off with the situation today, static pressure chart. We've got high pressure across many central parts of Europe. Low pressure is out to west. We're bringing up these southerly winds into the west of Europe, but most parts of Europe are actually dry under this area of high pressure and pretty mild as well. So have a look at the upper air temperatures. You can see that we've got some cold air across the very far north of Scandinavia, going into western parts of Russia, but that's about it really. Most other places have got mild air, and it really is quite warm actually in central western parts. You can see that through France, for example, into southern Germany, the Low Countries, those upper air temperatures are way above where you would expect them to be at this time of the year. Loads of dry weather coming up as well. We've got some rain for Norway, a little bit coming down into western parts of Russia. Showers through the western basin of the Mediterranean, so Corsica, Sardinia, Ibiza, Mallorca, Minorca, all at risk of some showers today. And those showery conditions extend through Spain and Portugal as well, and up through the Bay of Biscay into the Irish Sea, and particularly across Ireland. But from the UK eastwards, loads of dry weather, so dry for the British Isles, dry for France, dry for the Low Countries, dry for Germany, Denmark, Poland, and then going down into Italy, over the Adriatic into the southeast of Europe. All those places will be dry today. Temperatures generally very mild across most western parts of Europe. Look at France, for example, up to 22 or 23 degrees into the 70s Fahrenheit. So it really is a very mild scene. Even east of that, in towards Poland, we're going to be up to around 12, 13 or 14 degrees, which isn't too bad for the end of October. Excuse me again. As we go through into middle part of the week, high pressure is still in there across Scandinavia and extending down to many central east parts of Europe. Notice these areas of low pressure though trying to come in off the Atlantic, so that's the battle I was talking about. These weather systems will bring rain into west of Europe, but this high pressure to the east and northeast will keep most places dry. Upper air temperature still way above where you'd expect them to be, because most parts of Europe, though, it is turning colder across the very far northeast, so to the east of the Baltic, and across northern Scandinavia, a little bit colder there, maybe some wintry showers, and that extends down into western parts of Russia as well. But otherwise, it really is a very mild scene for most parts of Europe midweek. Lots of dry weather as well through Scandinavia, many central, east and northeastern parts of Europe. It could be a snow flurry, of course, somewhere around western Russia or the Baltic, but most places will be dry. Heavy showers or thunderstorms though through Italy, extending up into the far south of Germany and to eastern parts of France as well. Still risk of some showers or thunderstorms for Corsica. It's drier through the Balearic Islands and drier through central parts of Spain as well, and eastern Spain, but more rain coming into Portugal. That moves through the Bay of Biscay up in towards western parts of France, and then sort of showers, longer spells of rain, always a risk across the UK and Ireland. Temperatures in play for the far northeast, well, it is a bit colder there in most green colours, so temperatures around 3, 4, 5 degrees in the very far northeast of Europe, up into western parts of Russia. Away from there, temperatures will be mild through the middle part of the week. Not quite as warm as those of today across France, but even so, we're into the mid to upper teens Celsius. And Germany, for example, up to 16 or 17 degrees. Belgium and Holland up to 16 or 17 degrees. And even Denmark up to around 13 degrees. This situation is maintained into the end of the week, so a real meteorological battle going on. Most parts of Europe still under this high pressure, still bringing up these warm southerly winds. Weather systems, weather fronts and areas of low pressure out in the Atlantic, desperately trying to barrel in and break this high pressure down, but really stuck here in the west of Europe. Upper air temperatures still look very warm. That cold air across the far northeast and west parts of Russia actually starting to recede again at the end of the week. Most of the places seeing those upper air temperatures well above average. And it's largely dry. There could be some thunderstorms down across the southern foot of Italy and possibly going down into parts of Greece as well. But that apart, except in the far northwest, you see it's basically a dry scene across virtually the whole of Europe. Very, very dry conditions for the end of the week. But there will be the risk of an ongoing risk of heavy rain through Portugal, extending through the Bay of Biscay into the west of France, and then pushing upwards, particularly again into Ireland and the United Kingdom. And these weather fronts are slow moving across Ireland and the UK and Portugal as well. So in this far western strip of Europe, there could be a risk of some flooding actually by the time you get through to the end of the week. But the bulk of Europe, I have to emphasise this again, will be mostly dry. Temperatures are still a bit on the cool side in the far northeast, but elsewhere it's mainly dry and it's mainly warm or very mild. And in fact, getting a renewed push of warmth across France. We're back up to around 22 or 23 degrees here across many southern parts of France by the end of the week. 73 is 22 is 72 in Fahrenheit. It's been a very long day. As we go through into the weekend, maybe this will refresh, taking into account the 18s run. That's not quite right. Let's try it again, shall we, and see if we can get 6 o'clock run. No, we can't. So, just looking at Sunday's weather then, still a lot of high pressure across many parts of Europe as we go through into the weekend. In fact, because could be starting to push up a little bit more from the south, maybe beginning to lift these troughs out from the northwest of Europe, perhaps by next weekend. The upper air temperatures look like this, still very, very mild across many parts of Europe next weekend. And this is the 1st of November, by the way, so we're going into the end of autumn with exceptionally mild air across most parts of the continent. Loads of dry weather as well, and about an area of high pressure for next weekend. Again, risk of some rain around Portugal. There's an area of rain there heading into Portugal. Another one across Spain into southern France. So it really is Iberia. We've got risk of heavy rain next weekend. And perhaps in the far southeast of Europe around Greece. Otherwise, lots of dry weather. And even across the British Isles and Ireland, the rain is beginning to lift out just a little bit. The temperatures are still way above average once again into the mid to upper teens Celsius for most places. So it's going to be a very mild week across most parts of Europe this week. A late burst of late summer warmth for many places. And it's going to be mostly dry as well. There will be this section of heavy rain across the far west, talking about Ireland, the UK, western fringes of France, down into Spain and Portugal. That's where we've got risk of some really quite heavy rain on and off through the week. Could give risk of localised flooding in places, in particular, I would think, for Portugal. But that apart, loads of dry weather coming up, so mild and dry sums it up. That's all for now. Have a great week. Bye for now.